Okay, this is my little alien guy. All right, and my T-shirt. Let's see if I can get this on here. Okay, this is Stargate Research Station, which is in White Rock, British Columbia. White Rock is right on the border with Washington State. Right on the border. In fact, if you go to the beach at White Rock, you could walk down the beach and you could walk right into Washington State. I don't think Customs would like it, but you could walk right there. It just continues right into Washington State. You can walk right in, your bare feet through the ocean water or right along the sand. Okay, so we want to talk about. I don't know. I gotta change my hat. No words are coming with that one. Which one wants to come? Okay, this hat says, okay, so there's a certain amount of fear that we are under control by other beings, and that these other beings don't have our best interest at heart. And, okay. This hat says, we have lots of information, probably so much information that we got information overload about these kind of subjects. And this is your, emergency worker that's coming to evaluate the situation. And this hat is never going to come back to me because it belongs to my metaphysical detective, Vasily Fisk. And Vasily Fisk has not been coming when I put this hat on. But if you look way back on my, my social media posts, Vasily used to come, and he's got kind of an English accent. He's from London, England. And he's got a detective agency, and he has just gone missing. So normally I would go to him to ask for some detective work, but he's not around. Okay, so what else are we going to talk about? Okay, so we have to sift through the information that we have. We have to look for good information and disinformation. In other words, information that doesn't resonate with us, that's it could be just somebody made a simple mistake, or it could be someone who has got an agenda where they want to put out the wrong information because maybe they want you to come to them so they can, somebody says, be an energy vampire on you. Well, there's lots of different forms of energy vampires. Did you ever consider that your doctor could be an energy vampire? I mean, you go to your doctor and, if you're in the United States, you pay them, or your insurance pays them, or if you're in a country like Canada or the UK, the government pays them. So, I mean, they have an agenda. They want you to keep coming back because, they get paid every time they see you. So, and it's, that's just one example. There's so many other people. Everybody is in business for themselves. So they want you. And why do I say it's because it's, energy is, if you worked for it, you did a job and you put in your physical time, you put in your body's energy and your mind's energy and your soul's energy into what you did. They paid you in cash money, and someone wants your cash money themselves. Some people say, well, it's an energy exchange. They're giving you information or their expertise, and you're giving them money. All the same, you don't know if the information they're giving you is accurate, appropriate. And a lot of times we go to these people because, it's the doctor, they got a medical degree, they must be okay. But that's not really checking them out. Okay, where else should we go? Komatsu is like heavy equipment, like graders and dump trucks. What else do we want to talk about? Screen just went dark. Screen went dark there, so Komatsu. I don't know. Maybe we'll come back to that hat. Okay, so we have once we get back to sifting through this information. Um, what makes us feel like other beings are doing things to us? In other words, are we the creator of our own life, or are we the victim of someone else's creations? This is a question that is often asked to people. And are you a victim of circumstances, or do you put out your intentions and then the universe gives you what your intentions are? Or you put out your intentions and you don't get your intentions, you feel like you're stymied, you're blocked. Okay, I'm going back to heavy equipment. Why are we going with heavy equipment? Well, it's about like moving earth or moving, like a snow plow. It's like moving heavy stuff. What's heavy in us that needs moving? A lot of hats. Oh dear. Okay, so I'm going to go hatless here. So my hatless version of me might be going back to, Stargate research. I'm taking a pause. Just let me catch my breath here. It's just like a mini meditation. So what I'm doing is I'm like blanking out my mind by calming down, focusing on my breathing. I'm having some trouble breathing today because I've got a lot of sinus congestion. So I also want to say, if you're putting out an intention that you want this to happen for you, is it your spirit that wants this, or is it your ego? What's the difference? Your spirit is your long-term identity. Your spirit is the thing that continues from lifetime to lifetime. Whereas your ego is basically hung up on this particular lifetime and probably, this week, what you want. What's the difference? Well, if your ego wants what your ego wants and your spirit doesn't want it, then you have an internal conflict. How are you going to know? And why would your ego want something different than your spirit? Okay, this one says, it could be because your spirit is interested in soul growth. What's soul growth? Well, just experiences that are going to help your spirit grow. Whereas your ego is very susceptible to the advertising you saw this week. I mean, you might have been driving down the street and you saw a billboard and it said, let's go on a vacation to the Caribbean. And, it's kind of cold out and you're thinking, yeah, I could use some time, down in warm water. But your spirit might be, you don't need to go to the Caribbean. You need to be where you are. So I'm not going to agree to lining up the circumstances so that you can have a nice vacation. In other words, you might find, oh, I went to booking.com and the website was down. And then I tried it again later and I couldn't connect to the internet. And then people kept coming up and bothering me. And I was trying to focus on, you know, getting my connection to bookings.com. I couldn't do it. It's like the universe is against me. And it might not be the universe that's against you, but it might be your spirit or your soul that's against you because it doesn't want that. So, what's more important, your ego wants or your spirit or soul wants? Well, what's stronger? What's stronger? Like if there's an arm wrestle between your soul and your ego, which one's going to win? And okay, as far as, am I creating my own reality? Is my spirit creating my reality? Is some other being creating my reality? Someone in my team wants to talk about the law of one. In other words, um, at one universal level, we are all of the same consciousness. So there's one consciousness that appears as a multiplicity of different beings. And how does that work out for us here on the human plane? Well, like I said, we have an ego, which is sort of to do with primarily our body. The ego, it wants to look after our body. And our spirit and soul are long-term versions of us. And which one is more connected to the universal consciousness? Does it change moment to moment? Is sometimes my ego more in touch with universal consciousness than my soul? Or is it the other way around? But these are the kind of problems we have, is we got so much information, so many words, and, we got so much words in our head, and it's like, and then you get into anxiety over it. It's like, I thought I understood this, and I tried it, and it's not working, and there's no one here that I can ask. No one, I asked other people, and they're all giving me different answers, and I'm getting even more confused. I'm getting annoyed. I'm getting angry. I'm getting very frustrated, and all I wanted to do was go to the Caribbean because, I wanted to get away for the winter. Okay, so we're back to the heavy equipment operator. Who's the heavy equipment operator? It's, if you're an ego, your heavy equipment operator is, maybe you've got big, strong arms and a big chest, and, you can lift big rocks by yourself. You're a big He-Man and Iron Man or something. If you're spirit, then spirit will organize things for you by synchronicities. The right person comes into your life at the exact right, perfect time. The right information comes in at the right and perfect time. So if you're on bookings.com and you're having a lot of time wasted trying to make your booking to the Caribbean, I would say that's a sign from your heavy equipment operator that, sorry, you're not going to make this thing today. So maybe you might want to reevaluate your trip to the Caribbean because let's face it, if you really do have a long-term spirit that goes from lifetime to lifetime, it's had a lot of experiences, and it's probably been to the Caribbean and a lot of other places. And is it looking out for your needs? Yes. Does it know better than you? Oh, yeah. Why does it know? Because it knows. It's got all kinds of experience, and it's tied in to bigger consciousnesses than you. So do you need to surrender to your spirit and your soul? It's a good idea. Otherwise, you're going to be at roadblocks. What about like people that seem to live? I've got a friend that just seems everything goes so well. He's got a good paying job, and it seems like he never has to do any work with his good paying job. Every time I see him, he's in a new car, he's at the beach, or he's flying to Europe. He's always got a smile on his face. And I look at my life and I go, you know, geez, I would like to have a new car, a new Tesla car. I'd like to spend all my time on the beach. I'd like to go and tour Europe. But which is my I that's saying that? It's my ego that says that. But if I can meditate and get in touch with what my spirit, my soul wants, how do I do that? I just got to calm myself down, blank out my mind, push my ego aside, breathe, calm down, like calming down, relaxing your muscles. Like you might need to go for do some stretching first, because if you're very tense, you've got to relax if you want to get in touch with what your spirit and soul wants. Okay, I did that. Now what happens? Can I get a verbal from my spirit and soul about why I'm not going to the Caribbean? Why? And nope, nope, no answer. That's frustrating. That adds to my ego's frustration. It's like, fuck off. I don't want the higher self. I don't want no other soul or spirit. I don't want any of these stupid names to tell me what to do. I just want to get on the damn plane and go to Jamaica. Okay, so what other ways can you get messages from spirit? Well, if it's not going to talk to you in words, then you have to be very aware. Aware how? You have to watch for the synchronicities. In other words, maybe if you got a car, go for a car drive. If you don't, then maybe go for a walk or hop on a city bus. Relax, relax, relax. Now, if your mind keeps going back to Jamaica and you're getting annoyed and angry, you got to meditate and calm down. Focus on your breathing. You got to calm yourself down, because when you get into the state of peace, then you're more receptive. But if you're all wound up, it's like I've got somebody's taken string and wrapped me up in string and rope, and I'm so tense. You got to relax. You got to relax. And then once you're in a relaxed state of mind, and you just allow your body to be, your spirit can then guide your body directly. And what's it going to do? It's going to turn your head towards a sign. It might be, a street sign, or it might be a business sign. It might be some numbers. And you're going to go, okay, why are my eyes focusing on that particular sign? And you won't really know, but you just let it go, and you keep going on your drive. And you might just feel like your arm wants to go and turn on the radio. Or if you're on the bus, you might feel like going for your smartphone and, going on there. Or, or somebody might come on to the bus and they might have, I don't know, they might have a t-shirt on. This is a good way to look. Always pay attention to people's t-shirts and their hat logos, because these are messages from the spirit for you. You got to pay attention with your ears, your eyes, smells, use your senses, and watch for synchronicities, coincidences. Watch for t-shirts, watch for all this information, and then what? Well, then you've got to figure it out. This was your drive to get a message from spirit. I know I saw all this stuff, but I can't remember all this stuff. This is what happens to me. I can't remember. It's like it comes in my mind, and then it's gone, and then I'm on to the next thing. So what do? Well, I usually go home and I lie down on the couch, and I put on some soft music, and then I close my eyes, and I see what I get inside my mind's eye. And a lot of times the things that I've seen, it might not even been on this particular drive. It might be from something from way back when, that I get these different memories come in. Sometimes they're visual. Sometimes they're more like they're not visual, but it's like I just got this feeling. It reminds me of Seattle or something. One summer when I was in Seattle and I was with these people. So sometimes it's a bunch of connections, and that's your message from spirit. And then you go, well, okay, I still got this. I still don't know what it means. Then you'll just have to let it go. Because it doesn't mean when your ego wants the messages right now that your soul or your spirit wants to give them to you. It's constantly letting it go. So you get into a frame of, I know, ego, you want all this stuff, and you want, like a lot of times my spirit guides are the same way. It's like, we need to know right now, right now. I'm getting so frustrated. What's going on? They're always like, what's going on? I need to know what's going on. It's like I'm on the bridge of a battleship, and I need to have my radar and my sonar, and I need to know what my weapon status is, and I need to know if they're cooking lunch down there in the ship's kitchen, and I need to know my navigation, and I need to know what's going on at headquarters. That's what the ego is like. And your soul and spirit doesn't deal with these things at all unless it wants to. And for me and my spirit guides, no, not so much. Sometimes we're directed to go to the public library and relax and see what books come to mind. I just walk up and down the book stacks. And sometimes what I do is I point my finger and I just walk where my finger goes, and my finger will come right to a book on the shelf. And it's like, oh, and I'll pick it up and I'll look at it and I'll open a page at random. And then I see whether the book, sometimes what I do is I'm a shaman and I say, like this book. I say, book, do you want to come home with me? And I'll start walking towards the checkout. And then I might get halfway there, and then I turn around and the book just wants to get put onto the table. And then I keep walking. So what does that mean? It means that the universe picked this book for someone else who is not in tune like I am. And the universe knows this person is coming to the library, and they want this book on display, so it's very easy for this other person to find this book. So a lot of times what you're doing when you're doing these things is you're getting information to help other people. So even when you're on your vision quest on the city bus looking at things, or you're driving around looking at things, a lot of times this information is for other people. And you might not know until, you met your friend for coffee, and then, they said, well, what were you doing today? I said, oh, I was at the library today, and I found this book, and the book is this one. It's Abraham Kauai. Oh, well, who's Abraham Kauai? Well, he was a Hawaiian kahuna, a real kahuna. Oh, and then I might say to him, were you thinking about going on a vacation somewhere? Maybe you were supposed to go to Hawaii. And this is how it works. It's like these little facts that we get in our head that's not for us, because it's a group effort here on planet Earth. And the same way they might give you tips as well. Okay, so what about, this idea that somehow the circumstances are all against me? It's because your ego feels that way. Because the ego wants to go to Jamaica. It wants to go to Jamaica. It wants to go to Jamaica. And it's like very stubborn. But your spirit doesn't want you to go to Jamaica in this case. Who's going to win? Your spirit's going to win. And if your ego is getting very frustrated and angry, well, that's what egos do when they don't get their way. They're like a 2-year-old child. They're going to have, a shit fit, and they're going to have a meltdown. So you got to recognize that. So are we needing to worry about these other beings trapping us in the matrix and, forever? Yes. Why? Because this is all the information that we got to sift through, and some of this information is we have to watch out for beings that aren't very nice. So my Red Cross guy comes in and he says, well, he's not talking. Why isn't the Red Cross guy talking? Mostly because one of my friends says, "Where is my mind?" Well, my mind is looking at Abraham Kawai's picture. I'm looking at Abraham Kawai's picture. And it's like he's right there and he's looking at me. And what's Abraham saying to me? Abraham is saying, buddy, you're too much stuck in your head. Abraham's saying you're way too much stuck in your head. It's like you're spending most of your time in your head, and you're caught up in a lot of anxiety. What would Abraham do? He's an expert at doing a Hawaiian massage. He might say, you need to have body work. Oh, he's going to say, yeah, it's going to help you get out of your head, and it's going to help release the tension that's locked in your body so you can relax. And once you're relaxed, then what? Then, you're not going to be bothered by all this information that's floating around in your head. It's like you're on a head trip, and it's not too much fun for you. It's not helping you out. What you need to do is get a nice massage, take a break from being stuck in your head. Thank you, Uncle Abraham. And just to finish it off, my old associate, the fifth dimensional elf, Rumpelstiltskin, always said, don't be too concerned. How much concerned is too concerned? It means you're aware of these items that are, worrying you, but don't be too concerned with them. In other words, it's the same thing as what Abraham Kawai says. You're on a head trip. And humans are very possessive of their thoughts. They're my thoughts. They're my ideas. They're mine. And they're not. We mistakenly say there are thoughts. They're just thoughts that are coming through us. And if they get trapped in our head, they drive us crazy. So, I'm really, really going hard on this. Don't be too concerned about the thoughts in your head that you're having. How much concern should you have? If you're concerned about your thoughts, you should throw those thoughts away. They just keep coming back and they keep coming back. Then you need to get body work. And if you don't have a masseuse or you can't afford one, maybe what you need to go is for a swim. You need to get your body moving. A lot of people use swimming in order to clear their mind, because when the body is doing what it's doing, these thoughts tend to go away. So the biggest problem on planet Earth, overthinking. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and click on the little bell if you're on YouTube, and you'll get notifications of further updates. This has been your talk from Stargate Research in White Rock, British Columbia. Supernatural, British Columbia. Hollywood North, and one of the most beautiful places on Earth.